Welcome to Wellness Radio with Dr. Jeanette-Gallagher as your host. Her show discusses topics of health, wellness, and spirituality and is about discovering your place in this great universe from your cells to the cosmos. Along with her guest, in casual conversation, she strives to ask the difficult questions that may be holding you back from a vibrant life and shares new ideas that may inspire you to make a change in your life that you only can see in your dreams. And now, here is Dr. Jeanette-Gallagher.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Wellness Radio. This is Dr. Jeanette-Gallagher, and it's a pleasure to have you with us here this evening. Tonight, we are going to take a lighter journey. We are now featuring our first novel of summer 2022 featured reads. What a great novel we're going to be talking about tonight. It is Taurus, a Hearse of a Different Color by Sephera Giron. And what we're going to be talking about today is the experiences we are having. This is a great book because it's in a series of Witch Upon a Star. Sephera shares in this book is all of these great adventures with her abilities. Isn't everybody having abilities these days? Are we all starting to have an awakening of our gifts, our talents, and how to move energy? Haven't we spoken about that for over a decade now in this show? Are we able to create energy, move it, change it, and transform it? What is that all about? How are we connected to the earth, the sun, the moon, and the stars? And we also see that we are so much more than just the human that we thought we were for all of these decades and eons before. Wow, if we truly look at it, we are becoming spiritual people. We are becoming magical people. We are opening up to so much more in the cosmic world. And how did all this happen? When did it all start? Have we been like this forever and it's just been hiding in a box of secrets on a shelf? Perhaps now we can start opening ourselves up and saying, I've had that experience before. I think I will think about it, dream about it, meditate on it, and open it up and see what it has to tell me. Truly, Sephera shares all of these tips and stories in her book, which we will talk about today, because it takes us on an exploration. It's almost as if we were on a magic carpet. We are riding a broom. Perhaps, as I've shared so much over the years, we are dancing in the ethers. So come join us for the first of the summer 2022 read featured novel, Taurus, by Sephera. Sephera, thank you so much for joining us today. It's a pleasure to have you with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So glad to be doing this show with you. It seems like, we believe in divine timing. This book has sat on my desk for a while, and we couldn't connect. And now all of a sudden we connected, and I think it's a great time. Don't you think, the summer 2022?
Oh, I'm so excited for summer 2022. It's been a rough couple of years, hasn't it?
It sure has. It's almost as if we had to clear the table, get rid of some of the muck around us, and detach from the old earth stories. Do you think that, just as you share, you have a lot of abilities yourself with tarot readings, with being able to write all of these exquisite Witch Upon a Star books, you really are in tune with the energy. Do you think maybe we're clearing out the muck and detaching our roots from the earth?
Well, I feel like some of us are, and some are just sticking even harder to the earth than they were before. We're really in a transitional time, I feel, in society as general. I think the last couple of years of the big, C, has really opened a lot of people's eyes to their strengths and weaknesses and even their spiritual belief systems. And I feel like a lot of that is how they're been tackling, how they're trying to live their lives over the last couple of years. And I feel like a lot of people are, embracing new ways of thinking, although my book was written before the big P or the big C, whatever you want to call it. I do feel like we're in the age of Aquarius, so definitely everything's changing and transitioning. And I feel like it's even started that year. Remember the year when the year started with David Bowie dying and ended with Carrie Fisher dying? Is that whole year? That
Yeah.
year seemed like really pivotal because we lost a lot of really amazing people that year. And then, like in North America at least, society seemed to take kind of a weird turn. And
Yeah.
things haven't really felt the same since, for me anyways. And I've been on this earth quite a while, so.
Don't you think that shift was so vitally important? Like the world came to a stop. Everybody sit down. We don't know what it is that's taken us over. We don't know where it's coming from, and we don't know what it's doing, but we're all going to. It was like the earth went on full, hey, we're in neutral now. We're not going anywhere. You don't go outside. You don't go to do things. You don't this, you don't that. And everybody was like in limbo. It's almost as if we were in the abyss, kind of speak, because we detached from the old. We got into this abyss, but just as you shared, we really don't know. We haven't gotten back to it because we can't go back to it. That other side of the bridge is burned. Aren't we now just in the point of creation? So what if we know about all of our powers? Just as you share in your book, Taurus, there's a lot of powers and abilities that your character brings up and starts to learn and delves in and works with. Maybe, perhaps, we're now trying to say, I don't want that old job anymore. I'm not going to work in a cubicle. Oh, I don't want to have kids. I'm really happy as I am. Oh, I want to live off the grid. So maybe we are coming into that other space and time to never go back.
I think so. Like I know in my own life, I really appreciated the pause for about a year and a half or 2 years of not allowed to do anything. Or, I'm in Ontario, Canada, so we had stricter lockdowns and things more than other people. And so more time to reflect on what we want from life and who we want to be when we grow up and all that stuff. And definitely this gave a lot of people a chance, and unfortunately not healthcare workers and people like that. But a lot of us had a lot of time on our hands to really think about what we really want and are we living our most authentic life, and how we can achieve it better. And how important is money? How important are things? What is most important are the people around us and friends and family. And you found out who your friends and family were too, for that matter. At least I did.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I think also, too, when you share about your books, is that it takes a little piece and it says, do you notice this in your life? What is your dream about? Can you feel energy? For over a decade, I've been sharing on this radio show all of my experiences, my abilities, talents, energy, and little snippets come here and there. And I can distinctly remember, I think it was a few months ago, I was sitting at the table, and all of a sudden it was like, you would have thought that I was sitting in a sub-freezing kind of place. It was like, oh my gosh, where did this cold air come from? It was so frigid, and it just passed and went all the way around me, and it just kind of made its presence known. And I said, oh, okay, I feel you, I see you, I know you, now go. And then I went out, and I went outside, and I just kind of let it go. Came back in, and I was okay. So people would say, that's nothing, that's just a little cold air. You must have been crazy. What were you drinking that day, or what's going on, And I look back at it, and I'll say, no. Can you not understand that that's feeling energy? Can you not sense it? You know it when you go into a party and things don't feel right, or someone enters the room or comes into your space and you're going, I really don't want to talk to them or whatever, because you can kind of notice it. Can we expand our knowing of energies further to be able to listen, communicate, and then use them to be able to find out answers on our path? Don't you think that's what your books are about? Start using them. Start paying attention to them. Wake up, right?
Oh, definitely. Paying attention is the big one. It's being in the moment is a lesson I've really been working on over the last 10 years or so. Being in the moment and being in a moment of gratitude, the attitude of gratitude and that sort of thing. And like you mentioned, the cold spirit whooshing in and around. It may have been someone just checking you out, or maybe something, a message came to you. Only you know, and even you probably don't know what that was about, but certainly it was a visitation from someone, I would think. We all can have that. We all have that. We just have to listen and pay attention to what's around us. And it doesn't mean we get an immediate answer to a question. And that's what I find a lot of people get frustrated with. It's like, oh, everything happens for a reason. No, it doesn't, but when people say everything happens for a reason, I interpret that as, I do believe everything does happen for a reason. Obviously, it does. But maybe the reason you think it should be isn't that reason. Like, the reason is much bigger than your own little personal life and your part in it. It's a bigger picture. And a lot of people get lost in that because they take it personally, like, oh, why did something catastrophic happen to me? And you will learn and grow from it. And even though that sounds horrible to say to someone who's suffered like maybe a loss of a friend or a baby or something, but it will definitely impact their life, their attitude and gratitude and how they move forward. But at the end of the day, we don't know what's on the other side. We don't know what happens next after we shed our physical self. We can all imagine and meditate on it and think about it and think we know or don't know. But for me, like I said, the lesson really is being in the moment and listening and paying attention.
The idea of the cold air was noticing that there was an energy, and it was, quote, spirit. It didn't have to be good, bad, up or down, going to do something, going to scare me, going to that or the other. But I think that sometimes when people start to feel energy, they say, oh, but it might hurt me. It might this, it might that. But in essence, the answers that you're seeking is so that your human mind can put a name on it so you can justify it or validate it. It's sort of like, when people are saying, just as your character in the book is looking for love, what kind of love? And she's got it all straightened out. She knows exactly who and what she wants and where she's going with it. But in essence, is love how you receive it in so many different forms. So just as you feel and sense love, you feel and sense spirits, you feel and sense the energy around you, and you become, it's almost as if your eyes bug out, You've got eyes wide open all the time, and all of a sudden, all of this energy starts coming at you because you're seeing things in such a different way. But then, I think when people start to see that, they say, I need to shut down. I don't want to do this. It scares me. Mm-hmm. It might control me. It might hurt me. It might take me somewhere and I'll never come back. So is that not the veil between the spirit and the human world?
Lifting the veil, that's something a lot of people strive for and never achieve, and others are deeply afraid of. I was for years. I stayed away from tarot cards and things like that till I was in my 30s. I was terrified of them, and that's a whole other long story to get into of my spiritual journeys. To go to the book, the Taurus book, the main character Dorothy is a Taurus, and so I use some of the kind of familiar tropes about Taurus that we know. Stubborn, and Taurus loves love. They love being in love. They're all about the love, and so they can get tunnel vision about what they think love is, and we all do. We all assume we think we know what love is or what we want in our romantic relationship, but sometimes what we think we want isn't what is necessarily best for us or even what should happen. And so I think that's part of what this book is about, without giving away too much of it, as we discussed before, is that our main character Dorothy, who reads crystal balls, that she's one of 13 witches in a coven, and there's going to be 13 books ultimately for each witch in the coven, and they each have a different astrological sign. And then the main witch, Lucy, will be, same sign as a different witch. So with her, she's obsessed with this TV personality that she has a crush on, and wow, here he is coming to town, and like, this is going to be the best thing ever. Who doesn't want that? So it's an ultimate fantasy book, and but is that ultimately what she wants and needs, and that sort of thing is sort of some of the questions in the book, which we all have when it comes to a romance.
Right. Also, too, I think this idea of meditation has come up in the past several years. You go into meditation, and then you perceive and you put a picture in front of you so you can manifest and be able to have what you wish in the future. When in essence, hey, isn't that another word for conjuring up your future? You can conjure up what you need. You can conjure up and put into your mind and your thoughts, and you could say, what is out there? I would like to have this. And you have an altar, or you have your flowers and your crystals, or you might have your medicine bag. Perhaps you have your sticks that you're putting along the ground to be able to form out your sacred path in which you wish to go down. Or you may be clearing your energy. You may be salting and saging your house, preparing your place to be able to welcome in energy. All of these different things are abilities. They are tools and mantras, and they are also skills and just wonderful gifts of what we would call witches. We would call energy people. We would call them psychic people. We would call them those who are in tune with the knowing. So are we not saying now, hey guys, I've been seeing that for a long time. You and I would say this. I've been seeing that for a long time. This is what it looks like. Why don't you try it out? So maybe are we not sharing now our gifts and our abilities? And we may be using labels still, but eventually those labels will go away and everybody will start having their other awakening, kind of, so to speak, to what this world and the cosmic abilities are all about. Do you think that that's what your series is about, is awakening something in everyone?
Definitely, it is awakening for sure. Each witch will has their own awakening in the books. This Taurus is, I think, the 5th book that's published now in this series, and it's definitely and since I'm tackling each astrology sign, they come to it differently. The core of the series is looking for love idea, right? Each witch trying to have a romantic possibility, and that's different for everyone. And like I said, I kind of take the tropes that everyone is familiar with for the signs. So we all know, those of us who study astrology know that, like, not every Aquarius is exactly the same, because it depends on your moon and your sun and all these other various aspects go into our personalities, right? But that's why you can meet someone who's like a really loud, boisterous Sagittarius, and then you also know a really quiet Sagittarius because of where the sun and the moon is and all that. But definitely, I do feel like we're in an awakening, and in fact, I'm just working on a TV pilot where the pilot, the show is called The Calling, because something is calling all of us. It's a horror thing, but it's the same kind of idea. We're all kind of waking up. And then the very first pilot is called The Awakening, so where people are learning their powers and their abilities to manifest, because they're all witches of different types, learning, and then they're going to help heal the world, ultimately, is the goal. And that's ultimately what Mother Earth is like screaming at us, like she's crying, she's sad, she needs our help. And so those of us who can listen, here in Canada, we have, I just came back from a conference last week, where we had the Indigenous peoples were there, and 2 weeks before that, I'd gone to a water summit with the same Indigenous peoples to learn about the water protectors and the land defenders, and the whole culture of Indigenous peoples, and how the pipelines are destroying nature and water and all these ideas, and how we all need to get more connected to Mother Earth. And I listened to one of the chiefs last week at the rally, and he said he's actually afraid of summers now, because now they're all about burning instead of being nice weather, because environment has changed so much, and we all need to listen and deal with this. Or
Right.
and yeah, we're in kind of a scary time for people who aren't connecting to Earth, people who are more worshiping money and things like that, than seeing actual humans and the impact of their actions on the rest of us. And so in my little small way with these books, I'm just, again, as we were talking about, the awakening of who we are and embracing our own power. And if we each can get ourselves grounded and in connection with the earth and the environment, then we can form together and help others who know more about it and maybe have more power to get things back on track. Although I don't know, maybe this is how it's supposed to be. We don't know what the big picture is supposed to be for us. We can only deal with what we are given and what we are aware of and what our tools are.
Is that if there's people like you and I, each doing our own kind of shtick, so to speak, we're out there kind of having our own little piece of the world, and we're doing what we're doing. And just as you go to the conferences and you meet others and you hear theirs, it's almost as if you look at the earth and it's got little sprouts popping up, and those sprouts are people like you and I that are bringing something new to the earth. We're not attaching to the old, because the old is definitely, I could feel it falling away. I think it was 2 days.
Yep.
It was 2 days ago, and I was just sitting down doing something. I don't recall what it was, but all of a sudden, I got some phone calls or emails or people around me, and all of a sudden, it was like a spin of chaos. I go, oof, there's a vortex of falling away going on. And I could feel it. Mm-hmm. And all of these people were stuck in it. And I said, just sit calmly. And I really kept to my space, my own energy, and didn't stick out my tentacles to be able to get in there. But I kind of just let it go around, because it can suck you into the life, And I just let it go around. And then finally it dissipated and it went away. But I think that's really important, because once you start opening up to your energy, you get caught up in other people's webs and their energy spaces. Let's say you really start noticing energy around people, or you start seeing colors, or you may start saying, oh, I can hear something. I don't know what it is, but I sure can hear it, or I feel something like hot and cold or energy moving. When those things start to happen, sometimes those other people might be stronger in their powers or their abilities and bring you into their space, and you get stuck in it. I can think back. Like I said, I've been open to all this energy stuff my entire life. And what I could sense is when I was in the hospital, it would be like, I could hear, I could feel, I could sense, I could smell, I could know. And it was almost as if they were jumping me. You know what I mean? They were coming into my space and screaming, and I would get out of the hospital and I would be sick and I'd have a headache and everything. And it'd take a few days to kind of clear that energy out. Do you think that sometimes by you and I sharing all of our stories, by us seeing the earth as whatever talent or ability you have be the sprout, is that not how we are to create a new world? Because what we're actually doing, we're each conjuring up our own view of the new world.
I think a lot of the unrest that's happening in the world right now is so many people are afraid of change, much like a Taurus. To bring it back to the book. But there's so many people afraid of change. That's why they're doing Make America Great Again or Make Canada Great Again. We got it up here too. And I think they're more afraid of change because they don't want the old ways to go away. But the old ways kind of sucked, especially for women and people of color and gay people and so on. We want most of us want to move on to something new and interesting, but most people do have a fear of the unknown and a fear of the new, and so they'd rather cling to what they know than try to open themselves up to be open and accepting to something new. And I think like one of the things I say to clients, I'm in love with someone and, I got to have, Danny or whoever, Danny, does Danny love me? Was Danny, and I'll say, you can't put a spell on someone specifically, because you don't want someone to put a spell on you. You want free will. But if you want love, you have to open yourself up to the possibility of love and ask the universe for the giving and receiving of unconditional love and see what comes into your life, because it may not be what you imagined you think you need. It may come in a completely different form than what you think it should be. And so people have to be more open and experiential to anything in their lives, especially since we are in such a strange, the plague, the politics, the gas, the wars, and there's always been this stuff going on, but it seems to be like really bad right now. Like everything's like bubbling like a giant cauldron right now. And I think people need to, instead of trying to force their own religions down other people's throats and all that, we all keep hearing that stuff too. We just need to be more open and accepting of each other, even of the people who are afraid of a change and can't seem to want to embrace new ways and new ideas.
Right. We also, too, as your character in the book, when she gets her broom and learns to fly and she doesn't want to go out over the ocean, I think that's truly, we don't want to give away the story now, but when she goes out there, she also finds support. So in essence, is not this show, your books, you and I, that support? So it's almost as if we're not saying I'm going to push you into a venue to open yourself up and good luck with it. You and I are saying, I'm welcoming you into the space of the new energies, and that's where you and I are. In other words, we exist in the new energies. We don't exist in the old space where those are stuck. So really, when we are talking about that, we're welcoming people into the space because we are the support. So we're already here.
Exactly.
So if people are saying, I don't want to open up to my new abilities because I'm afraid I'll be out there all by myself, the answer is we're already here. We're the support. What are you waiting for? It's almost as if, that conference that you went to, everybody's saying, we're all the support people. We're already lined up in 2 feet above the earth. We're already here. So let's welcome people to us. Is that not where we are truly, our most profound power is, our most deepest sense of our knowing, and the best place to be able to affect transformation, change, and transfiguration and everything else? Yes?
I really liked how you put that, because I hadn't really thought of it that way before, that I'm already here helping people. That I really like that. That's a really interesting way to put it, because I just started doing free tarot readings on my Twitch channel again, because I had stopped doing it for a couple years. Because of the pandemic, I didn't want people asking health questions and death questions. I didn't want to cash in on any of that stuff, or what. I didn't say cashing because it's free, but you know what I mean mentally. So I just started, like last week, I did it once, and people were so happy to see me, and I felt there had been a transition or a change in sharing my gifts that way online, talking about things. Now I do do corporate, paid readings and stuff, and I've been doing that since January again, and that's come back. But I like the idea that you said, that I'm here to help. And I talk a lot on my Twitch channel, even when I wasn't doing the tarot readings, I was doing a lot of writing things, but I talk a lot about the energies, and don't be afraid. Just live in the moment, experience your gratitude. Try not to sweat too much about the future. I mean, we can't be ignorant about the future. We do have to have jobs and pay our rents and all that, because we do live in a financially transactional world. But I liked how you put that. We're already here, ready to help you. We're here to hold your hand across the gap. Or to help you access what, and that's the thing. I'm sure listeners on your show are probably already pretty informed, but a lot of people don't realize that we all have the gift. Everyone has it inside themselves. You just have to wake it up. we're all human, animal, spirit, creature. We all have intuition. We all have gut feelings. We all have imagination and creation. And I guess some people don't, or they're blinded to it, and then like I was for many years, just fearful of it. But in the end of the day, it's like, no, don't be afraid. Like, you don't have to feel like, oh, that person's way more powerful than me and I could never be them. It's like, no, you already have that power too. You just have to be still with it and just live in the moment and kind of accept what's happening, not in a doormat way, but but just pay attention. Yeah, because I think one thing also when I was talking about how don't focus on, if you're looking for someone to love, don't focus on a specific person and take away their free will. But it's the same thing when it comes to money. It's like, oh, I wish I had a lot of money. And it's like, do you really need a lot of money, or is it like there's something you're trying to do that requires money? Because it's better to focus on the thing you're trying to do. Like, oh, I really want to go to, I don't know, Spain or something. And so focus on how you want to go to Spain, not focus on you need a bag of money to go to Spain. And it's suddenly that opportunity may come in the strangest way. You just don't know. But you have to open your mind to the possibilities and not put a lot of filters and perimeters on them.
Right, because what are you looking for in Spain? Are you if you continue down that rabbit hole, so to speak, when you say you want to go, let's say I want to go to Spain, and you don't have the money to get there, you say, but what is Spain to you? It's warm. It has energy. It has colors. Okay, so put warm energy colors in your house, and then you're already there. Go and dream about it. You're already there. Going out of body, you're already there. Watch a movie about it. You're already there. So once you start surrounding yourself within those feelings and those aspects and those things that you're seeking, you may say, I don't even need to go to Spain. What I was looking for was the comfort of the energy of the colors, where I was looking just to feel like I had a different place in my, I needed to change up the energy in my home or whatever. So in other words, sometimes it's not even what we think it is, but because we stop so short of wanting to really go down the hole, of wanting to find something else. Sephera, it's so interesting. I had said this probably about maybe 11 years ago when I started radio, or 12. I had said, we were talking about black holes. I was talking to an astrophysicist, and I said, but the black hole is the most spectacular place to be. And he was like, what? I said, yes, because once you go all the way down that hole and you pop out the other side of the black hole, there's infinity. There's cosmic energy. There's quantum. There's everything, and that's the world in the galaxy. Isn't that the better place to be than worrying about being stuck in that stupid vortex? And he was like, huh? He couldn't kind of get it. But I think you might understand that. You know what I mean? You go down that rabbit hole far enough, and you'll come out the other side and say, I don't need anything about Spain. I just wanted to have a really good taco with different colors. I'm good to go. Now I don't even need to go. So I think the idea is, can you pop out the other side of it? And are you willing to do the work? And I think with your stories in the series, Witch Upon a Star, all of these books kind of it preps you for the process. It opens up something in your subconscious. It opens up your heart a little bit more. And you start to feel, sense, and know. And isn't that what we want? Take a walk down that vortex. Hey, go through that hole. See what it's going to take you. And isn't that the joy of life? Because otherwise, I mean, this old human story they handed us, you and I both know because we're older, when we grew up in the 50s and 60s, that was a really mundane kind of life. We're not interested in that anymore. Yeah. We're totally on the other side, right?
Oh, for sure, for sure. Yeah, I agree 100% about the black hole and coming out the other side. Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, people. I think it's human nature to want what we don't have, which of course is a theme of a lot of these books, and wanting what we can't have. The grass is always greener, and all those expressions and stuff. And people need to learn that so much of what we want, it really is inside of us, like in the Hierophant card. I don't know, people reading that know tarot know what I mean by that. But it's all, we hold the keys to everything we want inside ourselves, And if you look at the tarot cards, there's a magician card is the first card, and which shows we all have the power to manifest whatever we want. We just have to get our acts together to do it, right? So it's one thing to hold the power, but it's another to act upon it. Like you're saying, and as we're talking about, people have the fear or the blockages, or they have preconceived notions of what that looks like, but you really just need to be open to anything because you don't know what it looks like.
Well, Sephera, it was such a pleasure to talk to you about your work and your books today. And you said that you have many other books in your series, A Witch Upon a Star. Can you share about the books that are already currently published and where to find out about your work? That would be great.
All right. So the first book is Capricorn, and we started with Capricorn. I can't remember why now. So the first book is Capricorn, and she's a vampire witch. And then there's Aquarius, who's a ghost hunting witch. Then there's Pisces, who's an artist witch. Then there's Aries, who is tarot card reading. I believe she's the tarot card. Oh my goodness. No, it's palm reading witch. Then we're Taurus with the crystal ball reading witch. So they each have their own adventures. And then Gemini is the next one. And that one will be more about where I'm exploring like the soulmate idea of space aliens and Area 51, and we're going to go on that journey, going to try and interplanetary kind of ideas, which, it kind of falls in with our conversation today. And yes, so these books are available. Riverdale Avenue Books publishes the series. And you can get them on Amazon and most places where you can find ebooks and print books. And though the print books aren't in the stores, as far as I understand, I don't know if they are in the States, but definitely not in Canada. And then now we're just in the process of putting the Taurus book into audiobook, and then soon all the books will be an audiobook. I don't know how soon is because I don't know how long the process takes.
Right.
And then we're also putting the books into, there's a app called Radish, and there's another app called Kiss, and so we're just in the process of formatting the books to put them into these little apps too that I guess it's on the phone where you read in little chunks and then you pay to read more. So soon they'll be even more available than they were.
Very good. Well, I think, Sephera, it was an absolute wonderful time talking to you today because your book just takes you on an adventure. And that's truly what we want, is we want to be able to say, can we clear our mind of the old stories and I want to go somewhere else. Just as you shared, are you going to go in another dimension, another time, off on your broom? Are you going to go off into being an avatar or whatever? It's just whatever you want to do. You're able to find something that's easy, but it also connects you. Because really your book is not about things that are not that far off. In other words, it's not so far-fetched that you can't touch it. It definitely is close enough now that you and I, as being open to all of this, it's sort of like it's commonplace to us, We kind of can see it already. We can conceptualize it. We understand it. It's already like within our grasp versus being so far out there that, oh my gosh, that's, whatever, like ET stuff. But I think it's really wonderful that you're doing these books because many times people will say, oh, well, I don't know how to get started. Say, just read a novel. You don't need to have somebody forcing something down you. You don't need to say, I need to know how to do this. Give me the how-to. And I'll say, go read a novel. It's great. And I think your books are a really great advantage in that way, yes?
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Yeah, but they're a lot of fun to write, and I really try to pour all my teachings and learnings and experiences into these books because I am trying to educate as well as tell a fun story,
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Well, Sephera, it was such a pleasure to have you with us today. We thank you so much for dancing in the ethers with us. It was a great time to have you. And we just would love to have you on with some more of your work, yes?
Oh, thank you so much. I'd really love to come back. And thank you so much for having me on, Dr. Jeanette. It was fantastic. It's lovely talking to you. We could talk for hours.
Yes, we could. Well, thank you so much for joining us today.
Okay, thank you. Have a great day. And thank you all to the listeners as well. Thank you all for listening.
If you'd like more information about Sephera Giron, her series are Witch Upon a Star. The book we talked about today was Taurus. Please do check out the link on the bottom of today's show page to go directly to her website for more information. You can Google her name, find all of the series of all of the books that are currently released, and check them out. It really is kind of cool to be able to understand that we have all these gifts and these abilities and be able to be open to them. It's really a great summer read for the year 2022. Check it out. We'll now feature it, Hot Book for the Summer. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Dr. Jeanette-Gallagher. Until tomorrow, have a great day.
Today we discussed many life-changing concepts. Who do you turn to, and how do you know what is best when faced with a health crisis? Dr. Jeanette is a patient advocate. She listens to the patient, the doctors, and the family, clarifies the health issues and concerns, then helps the patient make the best choices going forward. If you would like help implementing change into your life and health, we can talk and see where you are stuck and how to improve the quality of your life. Check the link on the bottom of today's show page or visit dr.jeanette-gallagher.com to schedule a phone appointment today.